Good evening, everybody. Welcome to At Lafayette Live here on January 6th. I hit the go live button just about a minute early, so we'll hang out before we get too much into the introductions as everybody gets loaded in. But I wanted to get the stream up and going here for the start of 2025. If you're joining us for the first time, I'm Jeff Gooch. Thanks so much for being here on our weekly At Lafayette Live and our very first one for 2025. So welcome everybody. So glad that you are all here. Get everybody loaded in. If you're in, let me know in the chat where you're watching from. Made connection with a new group of friends this week that I'm excited to meet and talk to some more. Some parents who are doing some homework on housing for their kids here at Purdue University, which if you've watched any of my videos on the YouTube channel, you know that that's a subject that I talk quite a lot about. And so if you are one of those new folks, welcome. So glad that you're here. Now on At Lafayette Live, that's not the only thing that we talk about, of course, but that is so exciting that you're tuning in. Awesome. Well, I'm just going to give it another minute or so while people get loaded in. Did everybody have a great Christmas and a Happy New Year? Getting back into the swing of it. Purdue students were back on campus for the first time today, I believe. I know that TSC, Tippecanoe School Corporation, is just getting going for the school year today. Teachers were back last Friday, and the students are back in the buildings today, so everybody's back into the swing of it. So we had a little sickness in our house, so we're a little behind the eight ball on getting back into the swing of things. Today was not a normal Monday for us by any means. So, all right. Well, I'm glad that everybody is here. Today we're going to talk about what's coming up here in the Lafayette area in 2025. So at the end of the year, we did a little bit of retrospective, some of my favorite stories from 2024, great things that happened here in the Lafayette area. Some things were just about fun happening in the area, some about development, some about community development, and we'll rehash some of that as we look forward into 2025, because of course some of those announcements were concerning things that were to come, and so we'll start seeing the work behind some of those things come to fruition if we don't think that the actual project may not get to completion in 2025. So that's my plan for today, is to talk about what's coming to the Lafayette area here in the new year, how the area looks, what we can expect locally as far as housing, as far as the economy, as far as development, and cool things coming to the area. So let's jump right in. And if it is your first time here, hit that subscribe button so that you get all the notifications about At Lafayette Live and the Lafayette Reel when we post new videos, which by the way is all the time. So you should be checking in. So there are undoubtedly lots of things coming into Lafayette this coming year that are not on this list, that I don't know about, that nobody knows about yet, because it's only January 6th. We have 359 days to go for the rest of the year. But big projects that were announced last year, none of them are going to be finished in 2025. And why is that? Well, because we're talking about some rather big projects, for at least for the Greater Lafayette area, for Lafayette and West Lafayette, Tippecanoe counties. So three of them in particular that I'm thinking of. Number one, the Levee redevelopment project got kicked off at the end of the year. The old Campus Inn was demolished. The new old, depending on how you look at it, Bruno's restaurant was demolished to make way for the new development that's going in there. The demolition is well underway. I'm not sure if they're doing actual utility work yet. I drove down there the other day. We were heading to the skating rink actually just yesterday and had to make a U-turn because the road was closed. I didn't get to see the site too much yet. But that project is underway, but it is not scheduled for completion till I believe 2027. So that's going to be a construction zone for a long, long time, and there's road closures down there in the levee area, and it is my understanding that those closures are going to shift over time as that project works through. And, that's going to be a new apartment building with retail down at the bottom, much in the style of all the new development there along the hill in West Lafayette. And then just up the street from that is the Chauncey Hill Mall, or rather what was the Chauncey Hill Mall. If you drive by there right now, it's not there anymore. It's just a flat construction site. And as a matter of fact, it's probably beyond flat right now. The last time I drove by it was flat. They're probably digging down to start setting the foundations for what will eventually be a 13-story high-rise that will share a similar profile to the L shape that the mall was. But again, that project definitely not completed until 2027. So we're 2 years away from completion on that project. I don't know if you guys remember when the other high-rises next door neighbors were built, but there were tradesmen galore here in town for a few years. Steel workers and all the trades, staying in the local extended stay hotels. So expect to see lots of influx of workers here in the area working on that big project, as well as the levee project. And then the third big one that I have on my list is SK Hynix, and this is the chip manufacturer that is announced a giant, I believe, $4 billion investment in West Lafayette. And specifically, they are going to be located in the Purdue Research Park. So that's not Discovery Park, that's, on adjacent next to campus. This is Discovery Park, just a little north of campus up by the old State Farm building. The CHIPS Act money was secured for that towards the end of last calendar year. And I don't think we've had any updates on when exactly we're going to see a groundbreaking. I think they're still working on site planning and getting all the tax benefits and all of that lined up. And again, that's another project that we're going to see developing throughout the year. Hopefully some actual shovels in the ground, dirt moving here sooner rather than later. But that project is not going to be completed by any means in 2027. So those are the three big development stories that kind of crossed my desk towards the end of the year. I mean, they've been percolating away for forever and ever and ever. But again, there are many, many things that we don't know about. Lots of stores come and go constantly. There's constantly new retail, new fast food, casual dining opening and closing here in the Lafayette area. And that's why we love it when you guys tune in every week, because we try to keep you abreast of all of those developments. So that is the big things that are coming to the area. But let's talk a little bit. Let's zoom out a little bit, and we're going to talk We're going to talk statewide, and also do some comparison of statewide to what we're seeing here in Tippecanoe County and what the area is really kind of looking like right now. And to kind of put a point on it, there's the Indiana General Assembly is calling itself into session for its biannual look at the budget. And top of the list this year is road funding. The General Assembly is always, I think, kind of hesitant when it comes to taxing. That's an oversimplification, of course. But I think that most everybody who has a say in it, at least in the State House, is to the point that they understand that fuel taxes alone are not going to solve the problem. And in a report that Purdue University put out last August through their local technical assistance program. And if you've never seen this before, Purdue University actually puts on a conference every year called Road School. It's a conference about roads and about infrastructure development and transportation development, and that is, as Purdue's part of Purdue's land grant mission. One of the things they do is they provide assistance. I mean, that's to boil it down to something that we see every day. That's like things like the 4-H program and the local homemakers and things like that. But they lend their expertise to local municipalities and counties, government agencies about, best ways, best methods about, road construction and things like that. And in this report that they put out in August, in Tippecanoe County, I think it's Tippecanoe County, sorry, this is for the state, across the entire state, not just for our county. There's a funding gap to keep construction costs just to keep roads in as-is condition. Not to improve roads, not to develop roads, but just to keep them as they are. This funding gap, $500 million per year, per annum, every 365 days, we're going to come up $500 million short just to keep our roads as they are. And if you want to improve roads, that gap is $1.2 billion. And if you want to get rid of poor roads, and I don't know, whenever you drive on any poor roads, $1.9 billion, almost $2 billion shortfall to remove poor roads from our system. But at the bare minimum, we have a $500 million shortfall in keeping our roads in an as-is condition. So that's a statewide issue that is going to trickle down. Not a big fan of trickle-down economics, but $500 million gap across the state that is going to affect us here in the Greater Lafayette area. And the legislature is going to have what I think this time around will be a serious look at how to help close that gap. And they seem to be saying the right things. They're talking about how to best levy those fees on the users of the roads, those who drive longer, those who drive further, drive more often, including out-of-state drivers and trucks that are coming across our road and just coming into Indiana, from the Illinois border, then exiting out the Ohio border and never stopping in Indiana. How do you deal with that? So they're going to work on that, but that is something that's facing Indiana, and it's a very, very real problem. I mean, I live out on a county road, and they redid our road about a decade ago, just under a decade ago, and it was a normal pavement. And when they redid it, it's now chip and seal, and that largely is driven by the maintenance costs, the long-term maintenance costs of chip and seal being shorter. Chip and seal, when it is first installed, is a very, very bumpy, vibratory surface. Now, it does settle down after a while, but it does take a year or two. And, that was directly because it's cheaper. So is that going to affect us in the real world? Do you like potholes? I don't think anybody does. I love the memes that are going around right now with all the snow. And just like that, all the potholes were filled. So that's something that the legislature is going to be looking at. I tend to stay away from politics on the show, and mostly when I do that, I'm trying to stay away from the cultural politics. What I want to do is talk about things that have a real impact on us here in the Greater Lafayette area, in Lafayette and West Lafayette, Tippecanoe County, White County, Carroll County, Benton County, everybody around us. And that, the conditions of our roads have a very, very real day in and day out effect on our quality of life. But what about just the economy in general? What does it look like here in 2025? Well, before we take a look at the economy here in 2025, do me a favor and hit the like and subscribe button, and make sure you tell YouTube how much you enjoy all the content here on the Lafayette Reel, and every Monday with at Lafayette Live at 7 o'clock. The long story short, I think, is that the economy in Tippecanoe County is strong. And I've said this time and time and time again. And why is that? Well, it's really because we have a large, diversified economic base. There is no doubt we have the academic sector with Purdue University. Anybody who doesn't think of Purdue University when the word Lafayette rolls off their tongue, I'd like to meet that person. But West Lafayette is the college town. Lafayette is not. And it's not like a lot of towns where if the college got up and left, the town would be devastated. Now, are some of the other legs of our economic base here because of Purdue University? I would say it's tangential to Purdue University being here. And would we notice? Yeah, I mean, of course we would. It's an oversimplification to say that we wouldn't. But we have a large manufacturing base. There are old school manufacturers. We have a large company here who makes corn byproducts, cornstarch and cornmeal and that sort of thing. And then we have manufacturers that have been here, well, what seems like forever now. Caterpillar making large engines, think like big generator, diesel electric motor size engines sort of thing. There's SIA, Subaru, who has a large plant on the south side of Lafayette. And then we have some newer manufacturers that are here, GE Aerospace Technology, Rolls-Royce, not the fast cars, but the fast jet engines are made here. And we, of course, like I talked about just a little while ago, have SK Hynix coming to the Lafayette area. So, and then on top of that, we have a great, diverse, and strong service sector. Lots of retail, lots of food, and all the services that go along with that. So we have a great diversified economy, and so we've been doing pretty well here, and we'll continue along those same trend lines. Our unemployment actually ticked up to a high of about 5% in January. But it had been riding along, at around 3%, give or take a little bit, popping up to 4% in the winter. The data is not seasonally adjusted that I'm looking at here, so of course that doesn't account for farm labor and things like that, and pulling those numbers out. But 5% is as high as it has been. It's a full percent higher than anything in the preceding couple of years. But it came back down to 4.1%, and it is projected to continue to come down. So how many jobs were created over the last year? Any guesses on this one? 63. Yeah, it's not a giant number. Nominally higher is the word that the report uses. Nominally higher. Total non-farm employment in 2023 was 109,700, and then in 2024, 109,763. So that's not even nominally higher. That's almost within the statistical error range there, right? As you would say in polling. So, but we're not dropping. But of course, I'm a realtor. If you're just tuning in and haven't figured that out yet, there you go. Go check out all of my information. You can scan it with your phone right there. That QR code will load up everything you need, or go to the LafayetteReel.com/YouTube and fill out the form and let me know how I can help you find home here in the Lafayette area. But for the Lafayette area, new listings year over year almost a 0% change. Almost the same amount of listings 2023 versus 2024. And there's a lot of reasons for that. One of the big ones is the perception of interest rates being high, and they had ticked up to as high as about 7% or so. They've come down. They've come down a bit to off of that 7%, but certainly higher than the 2 and 3% that it was. But so many people felt that they were rate locked, that they didn't want to go to that higher rate. But the reality, people continue to have babies. People continue to get married. People continue to get divorced. Sad but true. People continue to get new jobs and need to move. So inevitably somebody needs to move. And also people start to get used to the idea of the interest rate being what it is. One of the most exciting trends, though, and I want to actually show you this graph. Let me get this up here on my screen so that you can see this. Residential building permits. Let's take a look here. I think that's the button to hit. Ooh, that's not the button to hit. Hang on. I want this button. And I'll move me out of the way. Here we go. Now we can see it. Well, almost. Okay, sorry about that. Residential building permits. Take a look at this graph. It was rising from 15 to 18 and then dropped back off and was actually relatively flat with just a little bit of a drop across 2020 right there. Right here. And then look at this. 22. Second quarter or third quarter. 23. Towards the end of 23. We're going up. This is going to help. This is going to unlock some inventory. It's not going to do it today, unfortunately. These are building permits. These are not actual buildings that are going up. But as these buildings go up, it will help unlock some housing capacity. And that's been one of the big things, is so many people go out there to shop and there's just nothing available. Just nothing available because people feel rate locked. So, but how do we compare to Indiana? Well, the interesting number that I found was that our consumption of goods spiked like crazy in 2020. And of course, what we all doing in 2020, we were staying home. So apparently people bought lots of things, but that consumption has been coming down, and it's had the biggest change in services. And it's actually gone up over the last couple of years the most in durable goods. What's a durable good? It's a washing machine. It's a car. It's something that's designed theoretically to last long term. And our employment in Indiana continues to go up. We are over 3 million jobs in Indiana. And believe it or not, we are 16th in the nation for number of jobs. 3,329,000. 16th. Now, number one, you can throw a guess in the chat or the comments below. Number one, California, 18 million jobs, followed by Texas and Florida, New York. And then we get down into the meat of lots of other states. But we're 16th. So there are so many times that we do read about surveys of Indiana and what's going on in Indiana. And maybe Indiana is not so great for this reason or that reason. But when it comes to total number of jobs, we're 16th. We are in the top 35 or so percent. And I think that's pretty impressive. And our unemployment continues to track slightly below the national figure, just a touch below. It actually spiked up the forecast. Well, not the forecast. Towards the end of the year last year, our statewide unemployment spiked up to just over the national average at about 3.5% and change. But it's forecast to drop to just below the national average throughout the rest of the year. So, I mean, that's a good thing. And then related to that is personal income. And I think that we all have experience of this, of inflation, of eggs costing more, or in my house, it's bacon. Wages are not keeping up with inflation. They continue to remain about flat. And they're predicted to remain about flat. And we are slightly under the national average. Now, we are a lower cost of living state. It's definitely cheaper to live here in California than it is in California. So overall, the word that was tossed around for Indiana is fair to middling. Basically, we're just going to kind of keep on keeping on with what we're doing. Nothing spectacular is forecast to happen. Nothing terrible is forecast to happen. But being a realtor, I would like to dive a little into the numbers of what we can expect to see in the year 2025. And I think we can do that easiest by looking back over the last 5 years, and we can see what the graphs look like, what the trend lines look like. Let's see. Let me give this a try again. Heck. Gonna get me out of the way. Okay, maybe we'll just talk about these graphs. Give me just a second here. Every one of these graphs is a slightly different size when you go from month to month and year to year. So, yeah, sometimes they don't fit on the screen so very well. Let me try one more thing here. Got one more idea, and if this doesn't work, we'll just talk through it. I'm not going to make that look good quickly. Okay, so the long-term trends, our average daily inventory ended November. We're a little early for December yet at 214. It's right along the trend line that it is every year. It's kind of up and down, up and down. You hear me say over and over and over again that real estate is the same thing as the weather here in Lafayette. What do you guys think about that? Yes? No? But the one that I really want to talk about is the median sales price. I ran into somebody this week who wanted to talk about one of my listings, and he just wanted to complain that everything was overpriced and he wasn't paying that, and that he would pay he wouldn't pay X, but he would pay Y. $100,000 difference, by the way. And while I admit that there are times that listings can be overpriced, the fact of the matter is that the median sales price in November was $303,000 for Tippecanoe County. That's right, $303,000. Let's look here. Here it is. This one's important enough that I want to take the time to show it to you. $303,000 over here. It's hanging just a little off the edge of the screen right here, but that's where it's at. Basically, it's been right around this area. And look at this trend line. Slowly, slowly growing. Let's go back to the beginning of 24. Right here, January of 2024. 254.9, and then it grew, retreated just a little bit, grew, retreated just a little bit, grew, retreated, and then we're heading into the winter months. Look what it did last year, January. Went down a little bit, grew, down a little bit, grew, down, hit a little bottom. Do you see this trend happening again and again? Up, a little bit of down, a little bit of down, and then up. Everything is generally up. It's not going down. It's just not happening that way. 15% year over year. We're only minus 2% month over month. And that has been the trend since 2019, since before COVID. We went from 175 to 303. This is median sales price. This is the middle of all sales. So it's just a testament to how strong the local economy is and what it's going to look like through 2025. We're going to continue to be strong. That's just the fact of the matter. So what's coming in 2025? Well, what's coming is a lot of continuation of the start of projects that were announced in 2024, projects that won't come to fruition for another 2 and 3 years. But our local economy, it remains very, very, very strong. So there's absolutely no reason to believe that we won't continue to see more announcements of cool things coming to Lafayette and West Lafayette, new industries, new stores, new restaurants, new opportunities. And that's what 2025 is going to look like. And we're going to continue to talk about them every week here on @Lafayette Live. Take a minute and hit that like and subscribe button. Don't miss a minute of video here on the Lafayette Reel. And if I can help you find home here in the Lafayette area, please go to the LafayetteReel.com/YouTube. Fill out the form and let me know how I can help you find home here in the Lafayette area. So that's a little look forward to 2025. But I thought to kick off 2020, to kick it off, we're here on January 6th, we would take a tour of 3 homes here in the Greater Lafayette area. The first 3 homes that became available for sale in the Greater Lafayette area. And we are going to begin with 3429 Burnley Drive in West Lafayette. It's a 4-bedroom, 4-bath, going for $649,900. So let's take a little tour around 3429 Burnley Drive. Got the room with laminate flooring at front. You've got a lovely dining room. Oh, wait, reverse that. Wait a second here. Okay, 2 views of the dining room. Sorry. We should look at this on the map real quick. So right here, this is just a little north of West Lafayette. I mean, it's still in West Lafayette, just a little north of town. Here's Salisbury, Calbera Road, and if we continue to zoom out, we'll see Purdue University come into focus down here. Here's Purdue University. So it's just 10 minutes up the road from Purdue University in Arbor Chase. TV Too High. There's a whole Reddit on that, subreddit on that. Go check it out. Great kitchen with a deck and a yard. Now, this one is definitely not in walking distance to Purdue University and is not priced for a Purdue University student, but is definitely priced for a Purdue University professor or administrator. Look at the chalkboard wall on the wall there upstairs. We have the primary suite upstairs. Garden tub and separate shower. Oh, so common these days. Giant walk-in closet. You can have all of your clothes. Going through all the bedrooms and bathrooms upstairs. This one has the full basement. Got a dry bar downstairs. Big living area with a full bath downstairs as well. So if you got a teenager, great location for them to hang out. And then the back deck. So that is 3429 Burnley Drive in West Lafayette, $649,000. Next up, we're going to look at something in Lafayette. This is on 344 Duke Lane. We're not going to look at this. There's only one picture. Sorry about that. And then for our second house this evening, we're going to look at a condo. Duplex, if you will. 566 Westview Circle in West Lafayette. So this is 566 Westview Circle in West Lafayette. It is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo with 1,432 square feet, currently priced at $245,000. And here it is just off of Soldiers Home Road. And this is a great option for Purdue students that want to have a roommate and then commute into campus. There is a bus line that runs during the weekdays here along Soldiers Home Road that you can pick up. It is in the C-Pass parking zone, so you can drive into campus and you could park in the parking lot on the north end of Ross-Ade Stadium or on the south side down by the airport and then take the bus in from there. So this is a great choice for students because it is a condo and comes along with, you know, the living spaces that you don't have to take care of. You know, there's not as much, you know, as a student that you have to worry about. So let's take a look. There's the front. And the front is the garage. It's not always, you know, my favorite architectural choice, but, you know, it's definitely functional. Large open area. Dining area, kitchen with electric range, looking into the living room, got the pass-through there, that's quite nice. Gas fireplace with the double doors. New looking LVP flooring. The HOA takes care of mowing, landscaping, snow removal, and exterior maintenance of the roof and brick siding. So I mean, it really is a great, as maintenance free as you kind of can make it. And this is great because you can buy it for your student, they can live in it, and you can have one roommate in the second bedroom and help pay the mortgage. Send me a message. Go to the LafayetteReal.com/YouTube. LafayetteReal.com/YouTube. Fill out the form and let's talk about, how this condo might be able to work for your Purdue student. Lots of LVP. That's just kind of the way of it these days, looking at bedrooms and whatnot, just big open areas of LVP flooring. And then a back deck area. And this is in this particular condo community, if you don't enclose your back porch, they take care of it. If you enclose it, they will not take care of it. So there you go. You get that one taken care of. And we can kind of see the layout here a bit. Come in through the garage, hit the living room, pass through the kitchen, dining area, and family room, and then the primary with the ensuite, and then the second bedroom, which is adjacent. So really, really perfect for roommate living situation. So that is 566 Westview Circle, $245,000, 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. So I hope you've enjoyed this week here on At Lafayette Live, brought to you by the Lafayette Real. I'm Geoff Gooch, your local West Lafayette real estate resource of choice. Hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure you tell YouTube how much you enjoy joining us every Monday here on At Lafayette Live. And take a minute and go to the LafayetteReal.com/YouTube and fill out the form and let me know how I can help you find home here in the Lafayette area. And with that, we're going to wrap it up. We'll get back to a little bit of more of our regularly scheduled programming next week, where we start talking about all the cool things happening in the area, cool things coming and going, fun activities to do. This week was a little bit of a mishmash of data looking forward into 2025. So thanks for bearing with me on that. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notify bell so that you know about next week's show. And we will see you then. Have a great week, everybody.